are there real plans to actually do something about those Obamacare subsidies?
I know that we've got different ideas in our conference. The Affordable Care Act, since it was enacted, Maria, it's 80%, almost 100% more expensive for health care for the average family in this country as a direct result of the Affordable Care Act. And what's their solution? Their solution is to throw even more money at the insurance companies who are doing so well. I think you're going to see not only the ideas to create a marketplace that has more transparency, more competition, and most importantly, more choice and accessibility for Americans, but you're going to have this debate now. It's the Affordable Care Act that has become the Unaffordable Care Act.
That's House Majority Whip Tom Emmer on this program with me yesterday, saying Republicans are working on a health care solution, providing more transparency, competition, and accessibility for Americans, as Obamacare subsidies are set to expire at the end of this year. The White House reportedly set to unveil a health care policy framework this week that includes lower costs. President Trump and GOP lawmakers are weighing also a second reconciliation bill for 2026, which would advance health care and other Republican priorities. Joining me now is Ohio Congressman Warren Davidson. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. So you're on the Financial Services Committee in the House. What are your priorities, and what about that idea of a second reconciliation package next year?
Good to see you, Maria. Both of those things are music to my ears. I mean, I've been working on healthcare since 2017 when I first got to Congress, and it seems like we might finally have a moment to get some traction on Republican bills. People always say, well, where's your plan? We've got lots of them. We don't have a single plan, and part of that is just having the floor time, the debate time, and really the focus in committees to do it. So I'm encouraged that this moment might finally be here for Republicans to come together around a plan. And as for reconciliation, that seems to be the only way to pass anything. I proposed when the shutdown was on, Democrats were saying, you guys aren't negotiating. Like, no, the CR was the negotiation. Let me show you what not negotiating like. It's not needing any of your votes. That's something we can do on reconciliation. And I hope we put a lot of our discretionary funding that Democrats won't agree to, if they won't, and get it done. There's no excuse to go a minute beyond January 30th, and we could do that with reconciliation.
So the president has been re-emphasizing affordability as really his key focus here, going into the off-cycle election and with his meeting with Zoran Mamdani on Friday. What are the priorities for you with regard to affordability right now?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you've got about 10% of the country, the top 10% of earners, driving about 50% of our GDP. So you talk to a lot of people and they say, oh, things are fine. Well, yeah, you're one of the people that benefits from inflation. You know, if you've got assets, if you already own your home, you know, the tide has lifted your boats just fine, and it's more bearable. But most of the country is getting crushed by prices. And yeah, the rate of increase is down. That's inflation. But the price level is still very high, and wages haven't kept up with that. So I think that's the thing, is letting the market do what the market does, and, you know, stop bridging it with more government. But what you see, just like healthcare, education, the things that you subsidize, their rate of inflation exceeds the underlying economy. So there's always a temptation to throw more government at something, and the reality is we need less government in most situations.
Well, look, I mean, what are we, 65 or 67 days away from the funding expiration, January 30th? Are you expecting another government shutdown, or do you feel that you'll be able to have enough appropriations bills in the books to stop that?
Yeah, I know, talking with Chairman Cole, the leader for our Appropriations Committee in the House, our House committee passed all the appropriations bills. We haven't had floor debate on every one of those, but I think we'll have a robust session between now and Christmas. I don't know if we'll get all of them done, but I hope by Christmas the House has sent nearly all of the appropriations bills to the Senate so they can start debating and taking them up there. And there's no reason why we can't get all of them across the finish line in the House well ahead of January 30th. The question is, will we get any Democrat votes to get something across the finish line? And that increasingly looks like no. So we got to have one of two plays, which is you put what is traditionally discretionary spending in mandatory. That's what we did with defensive probes and border security when we did the big, beautiful bill. We deemed them mandatory. And funding the government, if that avoiding a shutdown isn't that, then surely we could do it on a lot of other things and just get the cash to the administration. And even if not all the policy writers are there, I think the administration is going to go in the direction we would want them to go. And if Democrats don't like that, well, hey, your policy writers drop off too. But we can get the funding there through reconciliation. And the other is called the nuclear option for the Senate. In the House, we can't control that. It's up to the Senate to decide whether they're going to break the filibuster. We know Democrats plan to, though.
Let me get your take on your policy agenda, whether it be for the SEC and Congress related to markets and alternatives and crypto. I mean, you introduced the Bitcoin for America Act, which would allow Americans to pay their federal taxes in Bitcoin. Tell us about this.
Well, look, we're talking about affordability. That's just your dollar's been getting crushed. You know, the house that you live in didn't inherently get more valuable. The money that you measure it in got worth less. And gold is another indicator. One of the best performers in the past year or 2 years has been gold. And that's just one of the worst performers has been the dollar. So a lot of people hold other assets. Bitcoin's been one of the big rises over the last 10 years for sure. And you can pay your taxes in Bitcoin and avoid capital gains on that. But the president created a strategic Bitcoin reserve. How do you fund it? Well, having one control point, the treasurer, Secretary of Treasury, control it makes sense. But you can fund it with no government spending just by collecting Bitcoin as payments for taxes. So that's what the Bitcoin for America Act does.
Any other priorities with regard to markets?
We've got capital markets bills going to the floor here when we get back, and you're going to see a lot of reform there. And one of the most urgent ones is a bill Brian Stile from Wisconsin's led. I've worked with him for several years on it, is proxy advisors. So you look at Glass Lewis and ISS, they control about 93% of the market, and they're steering these companies. So how did Woke Inc. happen? Well, a lot of it started with proxy advisory firms and these big funds voting shares. And Chairman Atkins is working on that at the SEC. The House Financial Services Committee is working to come alongside it. And then lastly, we're working on a whole package of housing bills that'll get some of the federal policies on housing across the finish line, hopefully before Christmas.
Congressman, real quick on the proxy story, does that include firms like BlackRock and Vanguard, who are also pretty influential in terms of telling investors what to do with corporate decisions?
Yeah, we don't have that bill primed for the floor yet. There are bills that would get after that in our committee. But Chairman Atkins is working on that, and I'm encouraged by his more comprehensive scope in rulemaking. So hopefully we give him fuel for it.
Congressman, good to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
You as well. Thank you.
All right. Warren Davidson joining us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.